All right, well, we are recording. It's Thursday, it's November 2nd, and it's our monthly team call. And so we just like to do these calls. We started them about a year ago, just really to come together in community. We have clients that are all over the country and coaches all over the country. And sometimes even when we live in the same town, we don't even get to see each other very often. So we just like the opportunity to come together and talk about the issues, right? We're all on this journey together, and we've got this phenomenal program, but we can't underestimate the power of community and working together towards a common goal. So what we always try to do, we've got a great team of health coaches. We always just try to pick a topic that will be pertinent to whatever season it is, or what might be going on, or what we might be hearing from our clients. So we thought, well, it's November 2nd, and a lot of times people say the holiday season begins with Halloween, right? Because all of a sudden that candy shows up, and I was in the store today, the candy was moved aside and all the Christmas stuff was out, and so it's coming, ready or not. So what we do know for a fact is that we all do better when we have a plan. And we all do better when we are aware of what our thoughts are and the way we're looking at this. And having a plan mentally as well as a structural plan is a good idea. So we know Thanksgiving's at the end of the month, but we are seriously going to blink. I think it's 3 weeks from tonight. It's going to be here, and then bam, into Hanukkah and Christmas. So we just thought we'd spend a few minutes sharing about the power of our mindset, and then also talk about something fun that we're going to do as a group for the month of November. So I wanted to invite Vicki Feldman to join us. Vicki is a regional director on our team and helps a lot of people. She's been coaching for several years, just a wealth of information. So Vicki, just talk to us a little bit about mindset and what we should be thinking about as we head into the holidays. Oops, you just muted yourself, so unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I am not very technologically sound. So when I was thinking about preparing for this talk tonight, I think, it's interesting how you said, Dee, that, it's here, it's coming. I just picked up a Bed Bath & Beyond thing, came in my mail today, and every pot and pan shows a turkey in it. So clearly, the marketing is out there, the sights, the smells, the sounds, all the things that kind of lead us to the holidays. I think what's really important is most of us have had years upon years of going through the holidays. I'm hearing a lot of feedback.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm gonna mute Vicki. I'm gonna mute everybody, and then you'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead again.
Okay. So I think that, all of that is, like you said, the barrage begins. And I think that, none of us are teenagers. So I think we all have years and years of, we've all done this holiday thing a couple of times. So, when we talk about mindset, I think it's important to recognize the time that it takes to form a new habit and actually be patient with ourselves in the time that it takes to form a new habit. I think creating the awareness around what we automatically do. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has had the experience. You get in the car and you're going somewhere, and because you go a certain route all the time, your car just naturally goes to the road that maybe you always go to, even though that's not really where you intended to go on that particular day. So, being aware of the time and the triggers of the things that tend to happen to you, and being cognizant of looking to make those little changes. And we all go back to the, small changes that lead to big change, and that we can't, it's very hard to undo years and years of just default behavior. So, maybe it's time to just pick one thing this year that you want to focus on, that that is a struggle, and take the time to focus on that one thing. I'm just going to throw out a couple of things that, and just doing some reading that I came across. And some of this is going to just be reiterating, but I think this is why we get on calls like this, because we kind of all need that reiteration. And that is determining what you want and why you want it. We all go back to that why. We would like this, we would like that, but why is that important? And really keep that in the forefront of your mind. So as you enter a holiday party or a family gathering or somewhere where you know there's going to be a trigger, to really keep that in the front of your mind. Recognizing triggers, and maybe that's, baking for your kids, contributing to some holiday party or going to a holiday party, all of those things, just recognizing what is a trigger. There are plenty of people that certain things don't bother them, and then other things, and we all probably know what those things are. When you are engaged in a holiday party, or you can anticipate the play out at a holiday gathering or a family gathering, is just eating when you're not doing something else. So much mindful eating comes around having a conversation with somebody, and before you know it, whatever you were eating is gone. So, not to be distracted, but using the eating time for eating, obviously focusing on your family gathering and why you're there. Realizing that you can't control others, because, you're always going to have that family member that just wants to thrust food in your face, that wants to say, try some of this, but it's my special casserole or whatever it is. Just realizing that you don't have to make everybody else happy, that they're going to treat you the way they're going to treat you, regardless of what you do anyway. That's their agenda, but you can have your own agenda for yourself. I think one of the important things is incorporating exercise. I think exercise does a lot of things. I think it serves as a release from a lot of anxiety and stress that come along with the holidays. Also kind of helps keep you on track, also keeps you feeling good. And it keeps your body in motion, because a lot of the food and the things that are around tend to make you feel sluggish. So depending on what your choices are going to be over the holidays, I think that is a great thing to just kind of keep moving. So one of the things that kind of struck me is I came across an article, and it was talking about being aware of your thoughts and what you want versus what you don't want. So many of the times we think about, well, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be that, I don't want to be in this situation. But thinking about actually what you want, which goes back to, Dr. A's thinking about what you want to create rather than what you want to get rid of, which is, of course, that diet mentality. But they took the word think and made it in an acronym. And the T was, is it true? So if you're having some self-talk or, thinking certain things, ask yourself, is this really true? Just because you think it doesn't make it true. And then the H was, is it helpful to think that? Because sometimes the things that we think are not very helpful to our own psyche, in terms of just applying guilt, or here I failed again, or I just went off track. So, kind of take yourself out of your own head and just say, is it really helpful for me to be thinking this right now? And then the I was, is it inspirational to your health journey? Are you creating thoughts in your head that move you forward, that keep you on the path that you want to be on? And then the N was, is it necessary to think this? So sometimes we kind of find ourselves in the own trap of our own thoughts that just kind of it's like a trigger. It just keeps coming back at us. And to maybe reframe something for yourself rather than falling into the rut of, this is what I do to myself every single time. And then the K was, is what you're thinking being kind to yourself. And I think that is really important, because we tend to all be our own worst enemies. And again, another reason to come back to a group like this for support, because sometimes you hear it come out of somebody else's mouth and you think, oh, I'm not the only one. So being kind, I think, Dee, you mentioned that, having a plan. I think that ultimately that's what it comes down to. Think about why you're doing what you're doing. Think about why you're on this call. Think about what you hope to gain from this call, and having a plan. If you already know where you're going for Thanksgiving, where some of these holiday parties are going to be, and this is probably another call, but, having the sparkling water, having the fueling, having a plan, bringing the salad, I always say, put that mint in your mouth, because nothing is going to taste good after a mint. So there's lots of great strategies once we get really into the holiday, but just realize that a lot of our behaviors surround what we think. And a great example is, let's say you go off plan and it's like, well, I've already had this, I might as well just keep going and I'll start again tomorrow. That whole, it's kind of like getting on a little bit of a roll, because if you go off plan, you can get right on plan the next second, right? You don't have to wait till the next day. But again, the thought process that then leads to the behavior, I think, is key with coming up with a plan. And surround yourself with your, with your health coach, with a friend, with somebody else that is going to kind of maybe be your counterbalance checkpoint if you feel like those, like that acronym that I gave, if you find yourself falling into those traps because you do a lot of negative self-talk, I think making sure you have that almost like an accountability partner. If it's not going to be your health coach, maybe it's somebody that you plan to be with at these gatherings that can, you guys can go have a reboot brain group, off in the corner before you re-put yourself in the room of everybody handing you pumpkin pie. Actually, I want to say one other thing before I wind up here. There was something that I read that said, really, eggnog and pumpkin pie, if you could choose anything to have, would those be the things that you have? It wouldn't be for me. So, but somehow we feel like, oh, but we associate it. Again, it's the thinking. We associate it with the holiday, but I don't know if anybody on this call would choose to have eggnog if they could have one like sweet drink. Probably not. Maybe a skinny mojito or something, but probably not the eggnog. So when you think that, oh my gosh, it's tied to the holiday, because again, we've made that pairing, think, you know what, I could really probably find eggnog on Amazon any other time of the year, and that's okay. And sometimes that thinking is enough to just let it go. So those are my thoughts around the holidays coming. I don't know if anybody has anything they would care to jump in and add. Hopefully some of this resonated with some of you.
I see a lot of heads nodding. Yeah, it was funny. I was talking with a group of people the other day about Halloween, what you just said about the pumpkin pie or whatever, like you can really get it any time. When we were children, Halloween was super special, right? I don't know about you, but like I didn't get much candy or sweets or anything other than my parents, even in our Christmas stockings, used to put like nuts and fruit. We weren't even a healthy family, but that's just like what we got. So Halloween was a big deal, but you can get candy anywhere, any time of day, right? Like it's there. And I always find it comical how it's pretty much designed around children. But have you ever noticed those thought patterns of like, we would buy what we like just in case there's some leftovers. We start making the whole thing about us, right? What do we like? So hopefully your Halloween was more successful because of maybe not thinking that way. But Vicki, you brought up some great points because I just came back from Sundance, Utah, spending 2.5 days with Dr. Anderson and the leaders of our company. And Dr. Anderson spent a lot of time talking about transformation and habits. And that's why our new tagline is lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. It takes 66 days to create a new habit. That's what all the newest research shows is 66 days, about 2.5 months. So, there's no 21-day fix or, do it for a week and it's going to be ingrained. At least 66 days. So that's good to know. He also said, to completely reinforce what Vicki said, that 50% of our habits on a daily basis of what we do is done purely in the subconscious. We're not even aware of it. So, getting up, brushing your teeth, walking the dog, making the coffee, like all of that's happening without even being in your conscious mindset. So that means a lot of our unhealthy habits are in there as well. And unhealthy thoughts are in there subconsciously. So that's why it takes this intentional effort of getting together. So that was really good. We will provide a lot of specific tips, just like Vicki gave, put the mint in your mouth, put your drink in the opposite hand. We'll have all kinds of tips, especially probably closer to Thanksgiving or maybe our first call in December. And your coach can work with you around Thanksgiving. We'll absolutely post information and that sort of thing. But two things. One thing that Vicki said was really good is that maybe we need to create some new traditions. All right. I was talking to a new client and she said, well, Thanksgiving's going to be really hard because I'm having these people come to my house and I always make blah, 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 everything unhealthy. And it's like, well, do we have to? Like, just because we've always done it doesn't mean that we have to do it. Or maybe you make one of those 3 desserts instead of all 3. So we can change tradition at any time. And that was really, really hard for me personally. I'm a baker and I'm a really good baker and that was my jam. And that was really hard for me to move away from that and not be the one that brought that awesome dessert to everything. But more often than not now, when I entertain, and I really don't have that dessert, or I have something small. I love using these little like individual dessert things, but people thank me because then they don't feel compelled to eat it. You know, how often do we eat things because we feel compelled or guilty? So, Shauna, I wanted to ask you, because you had, I'll unmute you. You had a great post today about a shift in mindset and perspective from what you can't have to what your choices will bring you. So can you take a minute and elaborate on that?
Yeah, I was a little bummed the last couple of days, kind of feeling a little bored, with things. And I realized this morning when I got on the scale and it was down another pound, or down to an even where I started. I'm an even now, 20 pounds lost. It just kind of re-energized my thinking. And, I just thought about all the people that say, oh, I don't want to give up this and this and this and this. And I was kind of like that when Lori approached me. I was like, oh, I can't give up my creamer. I can't give up this. And I thought, it's the same thing as when people say, and I lost my dad years ago because he smoked and he died of lung cancer. And I remember begging him to quit smoking. And he said, no, I don't want to quit smoking because it's going to, something's going to kill me anyway, and I might as well keep doing something I'm enjoying. And I realized it's just like how we eat. It's the same thing. It's putting something in our body with all of the fats and the sugars and the things that are unhealthy. It's really no different than putting a drug or a cigarette or abusing alcohol. We're doing it because we enjoy it. What are we doing to our body? So that's kind of where my head was when I wrote that post this morning. And it just,
And I think you actually had added something in there about reframing it, like rather than what you can't have, but how doing these healthier habits was going to actually provide that freedom that you were looking for.
Right. I think it was, life's too short, so you might as well enjoy it. Well, turn it around and say life's too short, so why don't I start putting healthy things in my body to extend my short, because really life is short. And so why not do something to make us healthier instead of, shortening what we do have. And that's kind of where I was when I got on this plan. I just felt like I was, my life was just wasting away because of everything that, I was overweight and in pain. And so, yeah.
As a result of those comfort things you didn't want to give up that were making you so uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's a huge shift, and it doesn't mean that you'll never have any, something sweet again or a coffee creamer again. It just means not in the same way. And so that shift, it really provides that freedom, because anytime we're in a mindset that we can't have something, or if we're entering the holidays thinking of what we can't do, it's going to be difficult. And our brain immediately, as soon as we think we can't have something, wants it. So yeah, another thing around all of this, a big perspective is, if you look at the month of November, and we're going to eat 180 times, right? If we eat 6 times a day times 30 days, in the month of November, we're going to eat 180 times. To worry about Thanksgiving or whatever is one meal out of 180. So that just those little shifts in the way we look at it can make a big, big difference. So thanks for sharing. I appreciate you being so transparent on our I Eat, Live, and Optavia wall. That's really what we're here for. We want to celebrate the victories. That's fun. But the reality is the road to success is paved with a lot of failure, mistakes, disappointment, and we all need lifting up. So thank you for doing that. And when you see somebody reach out and post, just connect with them, and just, whether it's a like or a comment, and let it, because together it helps us all. So speaking of that, Julie, I wanted you to share a little bit about our challenge for the month of November and why we're doing it.
Yeah. Hey guys. I think November is a perfect chance for us to talk about mindset and shifting our mindset, which one of the things that we thought about is if we shift our mindset to an attitude of gratitude and thankfulness, it kind of helps us keep those positive things in the front of our mind versus focusing on, oh, I can't have that, and oh, I'm not going to get that casserole. And it becomes more about like, my gosh, I'm thankful for every day. One of my clients said that to me today. She's like, I'm honestly just thankful I wake up and I'm healthy today. It's simple things, but what we decided as a team is we're going to roll out, and you probably have seen the post the past couple of days, a 30-day of thankfulness, which means that there is going to be a topic, and one of us coaches will be leading the pack, leading the post for the day. So like the post yesterday was about home. Today was family, or maybe vice versa. We'll have a topic every single day, and we want it to be something health related. So when we post it, we would love for you guys to share what you guys are grateful for, something that you're thankful for today around that topic. So if it's something about home, I'm so glad I get to come home to Healthy Fuelings and I can cook my lean and green meal, or whatever it is. We want it to be kind of Optavia health focused so that we can keep that perspective and stay positive as we go through the month. And then we have a fun little contest. Dee, do you want to share about that, the prize and what we've talked about?
Yeah, so what we want to do is to really encourage participation, and who doesn't like a little reward at the end, is that we will have a prize. We're actually in discussion right now what that prize is going to be, and we'll post that probably in the next 24 hours. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to hashtag these posts so we can go back and search them, and for the individual or individuals who participates the most often will be a really nice Thanksgiving gift, thankful gift from us for being so active and participant on the thing. So we'll share about that, but you guys will definitely want that.
There's the hashtag. We're doing the hashtag so we can actually filter it, so we can see who's posting the most. So that's how we'll be able to calculate and see who's most engaged. One of the other things, sorry to jump in, Dee, I forgot to share I was looking up this whole 30-day of thankfulness challenge, because there's a lot of them out there. And a bunch of articles that I was reading talked about the benefits of actually journaling and writing down the things you're thankful for. There was a whole list, and I'll read it to you guys because I thought it was powerful. It was from a study that was done, and one of them said that people that write down their things they're thankful for, they sleep better, they exercise more regularly, they reported fewer physical complaints and feeling, aches and pains. Many felt a greater sense of connection to others. So how perfect is this, that we can do this challenge together? We're more likely to make progress toward personal goals, had higher levels of alertness, enthusiasm, determination, attentiveness, and energy, and they felt better about their lives as a whole. So how perfect for us to do this month, right?
Yeah, it absolutely supports everything we're about, right? Healthy habits, sleeping better, that positive, mindset. So we want you guys to have fun with it. This is new for me. I have never, ever done anything like this before, but it really just makes you kind of pause and put your life in perspective when you think about it this way. And when we put that little twist towards health, I think it's going to be fascinating, and I can't wait to see everybody's responses with it. So we hope you guys have fun with it. I wanted to let you know, I did post about it yesterday. So as clients, changing gears a little bit, as clients and really even as coaches as Optavia, our real mission is to give this gift away. That this gift of health, everybody on this call, we're experiencing change like we've never had change before. Right? In our physical health, in our, mental health, and if we're coaching also in our financial health. So, the real goal is, no matter where you're on your journey, you could be a day into it, a week into it, 6 months into it. There's no expectation the journey is going to be perfect, but we want you sharing with people. And that really one of two things will happen. Like, you'll be either helping your friends and family get healthy, just by spreading the word and referring them to your health coach, or maybe you will, link arms with us and we'll do it together and we'll help a lot more people. One of the things that Dr. Anderson said, and was that if you want to know what your future is going to look like in 5 years, look at what books you're reading and who you're hanging out with and what their habits are. So I don't know, I much prefer, I think, if we're reading Dr. A's Habits of Health, and I'm reading his book on identity right now, but if we're reading positive things that are going to move us forward in our health, and hanging out with healthy people, it's going to that's pretty big good indicator of what your future is going to look like. And if your friends and family aren't healthy, then it's an opportunity to help them move forward. You know, they may or may not be ready, but we do want to offer. So a lot of guys, a lot of us, you know, we all started like you did as clients, and you may or may not have an interest, or, you know, maybe you've talked about coaching with your coach or wanted to explore it or thinking about exploring it. We do have an incentive this month. It's called Accelerate, and there's an opportunity to earn a $50 bonus if you become a health coach this month. And it's a great time to consider doing it, because the most of the population is going to be looking to get healthy come January. Right? Most of your friends and family, they're thinking now and deciding. They actually say that most people have decided by December 8th what health plan they're going to do come January 1st. So now is the time we want to be talking and sharing. So if you decided to become a health coach, it's an opportunity to start the learning process. We mentor, we do it all with you. So there's nothing scary about it. So it's just something to think about. So your coach can talk to you about that. And besides, so if you're thinking about coaching, or if you just want to get a peek into our world, once a week on Thursdays, we do team time for our health coaches, and we just have community with the coaches and training topics. So you're welcome. It's going to be right after this call, and we're just going to keep the recording going. So you can either disconnect or feel free to stay on. We would love to have you stay on just to take a look. The only other thing I wanted to let you know is if you are living in the Atlanta area, on next Monday night, which is November 6th, I believe, we are having our weekly Habits of Health class, but it's going to be on heart health. And we have a nurse from Kenneth Stone Hospital who's going to be actually speaking to us about heart health and signs of heart attack and stroke and things like that. So we're having a special guest speaker, so we would love to have you with us. And then also, if you live locally, we are planning a holiday social gathering the first week of December, and we'll get out the details for that. Julie, what do you have going on in Charlotte this month?
We are getting together this Saturday. We're calling it Fit and Fuel, 30-minute workout, 30-minute nutrition. That will be in the Ballantyne area. I'll post a reminder in our group tomorrow as well. And then the third Saturday is going to be our normal meeting where we go to Whole Foods and have time together, kind of like just a discussion time. And that's the 18th at 11 a.m.
Okay, fantastic.
First and third Saturday.
First and third. And our goal, honestly, is that we have community events in every town and city that you guys live in. That's the direction we want to go to. So I don't want anybody feeling left out. You know, we can work together to get that up and going in your area. So we've covered a lot tonight. Any questions? We have a minute before we roll to our coach call. Just feel free to raise your hand or. All right. Well, Marcy brought up the great suggestion that I post some ideas about what to do with the leftover Halloween candy. So I will post that later on this evening. I'll also post the recording from this call if you want to watch it again or share it with somebody who missed it. And we're going to roll right to our health coach call now. So feel free to stay on or just, log out if you want. So thanks for being on, everybody. We appreciate you. And we're going to go right into our team time now, and wanted to, let's see if I can unmute everybody. We'll see if that works. So we'll see how that works. Really, we'd like to just kind of do this a little bit more round table. So came back from Sundance, which is the leadership conference from Utah. That was this past weekend. It was really, really wonderful. I mean, I think as we're stepping into Optavia, our new brand and who we are, it's just making it so crystal clear on our mission, how big of a demand there is for what we have to offer. And I think all of us, and I hope you're feeling the energy too, all of us are just feeling with confidence how to offer what we offer to the world, because it's just different than anything else that's out there. And one of the things that I learned about, I was asking a lot of questions about what do other teams do on their weekly team meetings. And so I never take credit for anything, because any idea I have, believe me, it's not mine. I've just learned it from somebody else. And that's why community is so great. But really want to take the opportunity and I don't know that we'll do it in every weekly meeting, but just to kind of do a coach story every week. So it gives us the opportunity to know each other better, understand each other better, our history, how we found Optavia, why we chose to coach, what we love about it, and what that's going to do for us. I mean, on a number of levels, it's going to give us that personal connection with each other, but it also is just going to help us to see it bigger. You know, like somebody's story might remind you of somebody else in your life that you've never thought to maybe ask about coaching before. So I thought I'd start tonight with Sherry Heave, who is a good friend of mine I've known for a really long time, right?
Very long time.
Yeah, I guess 25 years maybe. Knew her before I had my first son, and we were neighbors. And we parted ways. I moved away, she stayed, but I was me. I left. And we stayed in touch, ish. But then social media, we got connected on social media. She was very much a late comer to social media.
As is with everything.
So, Sherry, you want to share a little bit about, so we reconnected, but then where were you with your health? And then what made you start to consider maybe taking a look at Optavia?
Okay, sure. First of all, hi, everybody. I feel a little bit like I know you just from seeing everybody on Facebook. I know I've personally met some of you back in Dallas this summer, and that was so cool. When I first, I guess when I'd been watching Dee for years, when she first started coaching, it was all through emails and all that kind of good stuff back in the day, and then eventually Facebook, and we had reconnected. My background was I was very, very active in the gym, like 5-6 days a week, spinning, boot camp, personal trainers, everything. Basically, to use the phrase we've all used a lot, I thought I could outrun my fork. And work it all off. And eventually, I mean, it worked for a while, and eventually I just hit a plateau, and I was frustrated and not feeling great, not sleeping well, no energy, all those things. And Dee and I had reconnected and met up briefly for an evening, and I said, hey, I think I want to know more about what you really do and what I can do. And she shared the program with me, and it still took me a few months. I had excuses. I had vacation. I had this, that, and the other thing. Just wasn't quite ready. And then finally, last September, decided to go for it. And just what I loved most about it was, first of all, connecting with her, and then her support. And just, it was so easy. It was so convenient. Just straightforward program. It made the most sense of anything I'd ever tried before. And it just had immediate results and felt great about it. The other thing was, when we talk and connect, she would drop do you have anybody that's interested, like we all do, and you could coach them. And I was always like, no, I couldn't, you need to do it. And finally decided, after I'd reached my goal and had several people approaching me, that I just realized that they would have better success talking to me probably than talking with Dee, who is lovely and adorable, as we all know, but they didn't know her as well as I do, as well as they know me. So that was kind of what pushed me into it, and just really loved sharing the program and reconnecting with people that I had lost touch with that reached out to me, and so they're clients now, and it's just been really a pleasurable experience in many, many ways. So honestly, I think the whole experience, reconnecting with Dee has probably been one of the best parts of it. And also because of that, it's reconnected us with other mutual friends. And I just love seeing the transformations and the results that my clients are having. And I love, love, love when they actually, they get it and they're in the habits and feeling good. And I have to say my husband is one of those people who I haven't shared that he went through the program, as did my son, because they were like, no, don't tell anybody. They didn't want to be part of Facebook. They didn't want to do any of that, but they've both just rocked the program. They've embraced it. They love it. They're both super, super happy and healthy. And my husband almost to an obnoxious point at this point, but all good. And yeah, that's kind of my story. That's where I am now, and I'm creeping up the scale, and just helping more people just a little bit at a time. So it's been great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sherry was one that reached a new rank of associate director this month. So congratulations on that. And what do you attribute that to? Because you kind of had that, what's been really nice to watch with you, Sherry, is just that consistent growth. You've been consistent, and as a result, I see consistent growth. But what's been the experience for you on your side? What do you think has led to that?
Really, I mean, that word consistency, I'm just, as I told you the other day, I think my analogy was, I feel like I'm on that roller coaster where you're just starting to creep up to the top. I'm slowly going to that top point, and eventually I'm going to hit that top and I'm going to fly. But it's really just being consistent with Facebook posts. People see me all the time. I'm active in many areas, work, at the gym, and they see me, they want to talk about it. Just kind of putting it out there a little bit at a time, and sharing. And I try not to be too much in anybody's face, I guess. Just let it's just come naturally. It's amazing that a few people have reached out recently who I didn't think were paying any attention at all, who actually saw my husband's transformation and said, hey, you always looked great to me. I never thought you needed to lose weight. Not to diss my husband, but once they saw his transformation, they were like, okay, let's talk. We want to do it. So just the consistency and just being available and putting it out there.
So that's really good. I mean, a couple of lessons I think what I hear that reinforces to me, and maybe a reminder for all of us, is that, so Sherry and I reconnected. We had dinner. I remember it was the month of March because I'd gone down to do something with Debbie Pasco, who lives in the Jacksonville area, and made a point. So I went out of my way to get together with Sherry. So that's a good thing to think about when you're traveling, maybe take an opportunity to have coffee with somebody or dinner or whatever. And it was 6 months before Sherry started program. So, we have to be patient with people. It's on their time. So, it's usually a not yet if somebody, asks for information and they haven't done it yet. So that was a good one. And then the same thing with coaching. I saw her as a coach before she did. And so really just looking for some needs, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but looking for some needs in her world, how it would help her, how she could help more people. And it's working. And again, even growing the business. Now she's consistent and she's got people watching her in the background who come forward. So that's good. Anybody have any questions for Sherry? All right, cool. Well, what I wanted to talk about tonight, because in our last group meeting that we had, we talked about what would really be helpful to you guys for training topics. And one of the topics was that wanted some help and some guidance around our weekly support calls with our clients. So, after they've said yes and we've gotten them established on the weight loss piece of it, how do we keep the interest on the weekly calls going so that we can make those calls effective and help people move forward in their health? And I think the number one thing is that we don't, we don't want to get in the habit, and I know I did it for years, we don't want to get in the habit of just simply coaching the diet. Like, hey, how much did you lose? Like, okay, well, great. Just let me know if you have any questions. It's so much more than that. So the real reason we connect with our clients on a weekly basis, and it is important to connect with our clients verbally. All right. With technology today, clients will try to dictate the relationship. And a lot of times they're trying to dictate it on their terms because they don't really want the accountability, And so what we want to do is we want to drive that relationship in a positive way. Number one, letting people know that it's not going to be a long call. The goal should really be to keep these calls weekly, about 5 to 7 minutes. You can cover a lot if you're very specific with your questions and listen to the answers. If it goes on beyond that, it really probably means we've gotten derailed talking about something unrelated, or it's excuses, right? And maybe we need to be listening and asking some better questions to help move them through those excuses. So we want to build that relationship. We want to build the trust with the clients. We really want to use it to guide people through the system. So our role as a coach is, we're not counselors or behavioral specialists. I mean, what we want to do is connect people to what it is we know works. So we've got the weight loss plan. I mean, that's easy. We can give them the formula for that. It's the bigger picture of plugging them into our community, helping them plug into the education components that we have to offer, whether it be the books or the webinar or the weekly Habits of Health email, and I'll talk about that in a second, and local events. Like, we want to get them plugged in, because it's very easy for people just to only do the diet. It's very easy for us to start just coaching the diet. And then when they struggle, they don't have the tools, and we don't have the tools, to be able to help them. So if a client's struggling, I don't teach them anything from the book, but I might say, have you had a chance to read chapter 3 in Dr. A's book on motivation? Answer's probably no. Okay. Well, would you be, can I challenge you? And it's always good to ask permission. Can I challenge you to maybe read that chapter this week? And I would love to hear your feedback when we talk next week. So you're kind of setting a guideline without giving homework. It just, this is relative to you. And I use it a lot. I use the weekly Habit of Health webinar a lot for people, especially if it's going to be on emotional eating or something. If somebody's struggling, I will, reach to them directly and just say, hey, I think this would be a really good one for you. And I'm surprised how many will tune in when I take the time to personally, verbally talk to them about it. So and our real role as the coach also is to guide people on all the areas of health. So to ask questions like, after those first few weeks on plan, have you started to exercise yet? Would you like some coaching around that? Maybe get them walking or getting more steps in a day. And that's probably a different call. How are you sleeping at night? Refer them to chapter, the chapter 17 in the book, Dr. A's, if that's an area that they deal with. How's their water intake? So asking questions about other habits of health and not just the actual plan. And one thing I like to do is we have the weekly Habit of Health call this is the one the company does every week at Wednesday, 8:30. So on Mondays, I send to you all of my clients, and all of my direct line coaches are on that you guys get a copy of that email that tells us what the Habit of Health call is. And it comes out at 9 a.m. on Monday. So that can be and then if you're a coach that has coaches, all I ask is that you forward that to your coaches. But what I'd like you to do is an idea is to consider you taking that same email and forwarding it to your clients, because they're not getting it from me. So now it's your responsibility to send it. But if you do that pretty quickly early in the week, then when you have your weekly call, a great conversation is to say, hey, did you get my email on the weekly Habit of Health? They may or may not have read it yet, but you can say, well, it's on water. How are you doing with water these days? You might want to take a look at it. There's some great tips in the email, and there's also that. And then you can also follow up the next week. Did you watch the webinar? How was it? So those kind of things will help tremendously, because a lot of people just don't want to pick up the books, and I get that. So if we can point them, and if they miss the weekly Habit of Health call, they can watch it on, they go to Habit, there's podcasts, or they can go to YouTube, and put in Habits of Health calls, and all the prior calls are out there. So another thing to do is ask them about their non-scale victories. Right? Like right away, like, what are we celebrating this week? We always want to keep this upbeat. What are we I know you probably lost weight. What are we celebrating besides that? Or maybe they didn't lose weight. Maybe they didn't comply to the program. What was good? I always try to find something positive, and no matter what the situation, because we know our clients will try to get down on themselves about it and all that, So find something positive that you can leave them with. And try to get them on. Okay, so here's the other one. So we want to try to get them on like our client calls from last night, the one that we just did 30 minutes ago. But the other thing is that it's real important to connect our clients to the bigger picture and beyond you. And it's going to benefit them and you for a number of reasons. So what this is about is that this is doing team calls with your business coach. So for example, like Sherry is a coach directly under me. So Sherry bringing her clients to me for celebration calls. And it's a really good idea to do a celebration call at like 1 week on the program. They are in a happy place. People love to be celebrated. Bring them to, it's either a 3-way call or a Zoom. But what happens is that the client sees it bigger than Sherry. Right? So they're never going to think like, well, I can never do what Sherry does, because they're going to be like, well, Dee does it too. This can't be that hard. She can do it. But the other is that I will probably ask some questions that you haven't thought of, or I will ask the same exact question you've been asking and they'll give a different answer. So especially if you're not comfortable yet, maybe looking for opportunities that health coaching might be a good fit, or maybe you're thinking like they'd be a great health coach, but I can't seem to get the words out of my mouth. You can learn from your business mentor on that. So 1 week, 1 month, it's a really good idea if they're struggling. Say, you know what do you think if we just got my coach on the phone and we talked about this? Those people that like they're spiraling down. Most people will say yes, because they don't want to go down the toilet. So like that could be a good one to help them through that. And then if they do have interest in coaching, a great thing to do is just say, well, why don't we just hop on a call and we can just explore that with my coach to see what that could look like. So we use words like explore, have a chat, that sort of thing. We do want to get to know our clients. That is part of we were building relationships with people, and we want them to see our community. We want them to answer the phone when we call. And that happens when we become empathetic to them and make this about them and asking questions. So Ron Gels, who is he's the global above us, above Susan Palace, he is fabulous with relationship. And so he has a formula, an acronym that I want to give you, and I'll also post it in our team page, about week by week questions that you can be asking your clients that are not related to weight loss. They are going to give you a glimpse into their world. Number 1, to build relationship and empathy. But 2, you might come across a situation where you're like, wow, like, I don't know if you're interested, but you might want to explore coaching because it could help with your child's braces. You know what I mean? If they're saying like something like that. So here's the acronym. It is the word Ford. F-O-R-D, like the truck, right? Ford. So F is for family. And so very early in the game, we want to ask questions about people's family. Are they married? Are they single? Do they have children? How old are the children? Do they go to school? What kind of, to find out, are they in private school? Are they in public school? Do the kids do activities? What kind of things do they enjoy? It gives you an idea of what their weekends look like and things like that. As the kids get older, talk about college. Are you starting to look at college? People will tell you things like, yeah, he really wants to go to NYU, but that's not in the budget. Like they'll say things that will give you an indication that like, wow, like you might be able to offer them the opportunity to explore coaching for extra income to help pay for the college. So it fits a need. So asking those questions, but then that's going to make it easier. The next week's call, you could say, hey, how was that soccer tournament this weekend? Not that we want to BS with our clients, but at least it shows that you've listened and you've cared. The second one is recreation. So the R in, well, actually I said, no, O. The next one is O for Ford, and that's occupation. So what do they do for a living? What does their spouse do? Big question I like to ask. How do you like it? That's a big indicator. If people say things like, well, I've been doing it 20 years, it's what I do. Or, well, pays the bills, living the dream. any of that, that's an indication they're not real happy. And so, I like to ask questions. So what do you love most about your job? It might be about the connection with people or something, right? What do you like the least? What would you change about it if you could? And if they said, like, well, if I could work from home, then I have to put my child in childcare, ding, ding, right? So you're getting an idea of where their heart is, what's most important to them. The next thing is recreation. So what do they like to do for fun? What are their hobbies? What are their activities? If somebody tells me they like to go, oh yeah, we love to ski, I like to say, well, how often do you guys get to do that? And if they say like, well, we would if we had more time, or we would if we had more money, ding, ding, like there it is. They have a need. So again, we're doing it to connect with them. It just gives you a better idea of where they're coming from and what's important to them. I like to say things too, like, well, what would you do if you had more time or money? Are there any hobbies you'd like to do if you had more time or money for it? And that can be pretty eye-opening. And then the last one is dreams. And this is really where it's the opportunity to kind of pop the question. But I love the way Ron phrased this. He just said, hey, he's like, would you be interested in exploring opportunities where you could earn more money or have more time? And most people would say yes. And he was like, well, I'm just wondering, like, are there any big dreams, any desires, any vacations? Like, if money wasn't a thing, is there something you would love to do? And so it might be somebody wants to remodel their kitchen. Somebody wants to, go to Europe, that sort of thing. So, Carol Hibbs, I don't know if those of you guys who were at convention, Carol Hibbs she came on board last year in August as a client. And by July, she was a presidential director, the highest level you can be in our company in that short time. And she's still on her weight loss journey, losing like 90-something pounds. So when she first started coaching, all she did was just coach on the diet. That's all she did. She took people on as many as she could, as fast as she could, making money because she did not want to have to go back to work as a nurse. But her mentor showed her, they said, listen, clients come and go. Clients come and go. They're gonna reach their goal and leave, or they're gonna fall off the program. But coaches stay. And if this is changing your world, like if this is giving you the opportunity not to go back to the hospital and to be able to stay home with 3 children, why are you holding this gift from somebody else? So then she said she started just telling people they should become coaches. You should do this. You should really do this. Like you could, and nobody likes to be shoulded at, right? Nobody likes to be told what they should do. It doesn't resonate with them. So she said it was the hardest thing in the world. She goes, but I had to start to get to know people. And I had to ask these questions, and I had to find out what their need was. She goes, so then when I asked them if they wanted to explore it, it was totally relative to what their situation was and why it would benefit. And people, think about human behavior, even ourselves, that car salesman or whatever that tells you should. I mean, you're just that. So, but if you feel like somebody cares about you and they're like, listen, I don't know if this is for you or not, but do you want to take a look at it? It's just a big difference. So that was it. I thought, I might ask Debbie Pasco. Debbie, you've been coaching for several years, and the feedback I hear from your clients and your coaches that become clients that become coaches is how good your relationship is with them. So what can you share about your connection with people, and what's your focus on your weekly calls?
I would say that number one, I have noticed you're going to get 2 kinds of clients. One are the people who are engaged and care and want to be a part of it. And there are those that, as much as we want and as much as we care, they want a diet. They want a solution to a problem, and they do not want to engage. So you can very quickly kind of establish what you're dealing with right away. But the people that I feel like they are engaged, they do care, they do want to get to know me just as much as I want to get to know them. Our conversations sometimes are quick, 5 minutes, like get your questions answered, find out what's going on, see if I can offer you anything, see if you can tell me anything, and then we're done. And some of the conversations stretch out because they're talking about their mom again, did this thing, or oh, my son, or whatever. And it's just, it's a friendship. And so I'm investing in a friendship with them. And I definitely wouldn't invest in a very long conversation every single time with every single person, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen either. And I do feel like that is valuable because I can take notes and I can remember, and I've established a rapport with my friend. And then when we turn back around the next time, we, like, you know, how Ron trains us, we have something, hey, how did that thing end up? Or how's your mom doing now, or whatever. Another thing is just truly, I think developing a friendship and becoming, you know, somebody that a person cares about and they know I care about them, just not just I'm your coach and I care about you because you buy this product and, you know, I coach you, but when we're done with this part of the relationship, we're done. You know, they know that I'm invested in them on a personal level. So like I have one client I spoke to today who was just, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out and things are going rough and I wish I could quit. And I don't, you know, everything was just making her frustrated. And she goes, I don't even know why I'm on the program. I don't think it's gonna, I mean, I just want to quit. I just want to quit my job. I want to quit the program. And I stopped. I didn't even say, well, let me find a solution to that. And why don't you become a coach? I mean, I just said, you know what? So I am your coach, but I'm also your friend. Is there anything I can do for you? And it was like on a personal level. And then as we were talking about, then we went back to that. If with her saying, I'm just, there's so much going on and I don't know if I can do this program. I said, well, you know, I will say a lot of people I've talked to find that this actually makes life less stressful, not more stressful, because everything's figured out. And like, so then, but then you've just established that you care about that person. And then, so then when I come back to, you know, this might actually be a solution to that stress, not one more thing to stress about, because this can alleviate some of your, what do I do? What do I eat? No, now I feel guilty about it, you know? So anyway, I think it's just received better.
Yeah, that's great. And that was great because you started with, how can I help? You know, is there anything I can help you with around that versus let me tell you what to do.
Right.
You know, let me tell you how to fix this, or this should be easy for you. That's so simple. Right. You just, you know, you got permission and you establish that trust. And that's what this is all about. I mean, it's about relationship and engaging with people. And until somebody feels trust with us, we're not going to get anywhere with them. And this is about their personal transformation. So we offer them for the physical health, and then, you know, we offer the other parts of the trilogy. But at any stage of the game, like you said, Debbie, I mean, if they're not ready, they're not ready. But more often than not, people will be ready or be open if they know that there's no agenda on our side, that we really do care about them. Because at the end of the day, whether or not somebody becomes a coach, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change my world. I'm going to, you know, keep going. So I'm going to offer it, but I'm not going to get my feelings hurt if they're not. And I may know it's a solution, but if they don't see it, okay. You know, and just like with the program, no doesn't always mean no. So sometimes we can plant a seed and then layer it. Just to go back to all that, like you said, Debbie, sometimes our clients will want to go on, and sometimes we are friends with our clients. If you have a personal friend, I do recommend that you kind of separate your business hat and your friendship hat. So if the conversation starts going down, well, let me tell you about my sister and whatever. Because we don't want it. We always want to model that this is quick. I mean, the reality is, if you're doing this job right, it does not take very long. A call should be 5 to 7 minutes. If somebody says, I don't have time, you should be able to easily say, well, how much time do I spend with you? You know, 5 to 7 minutes. If you're spending 20, 30, 40, well, yeah, I wouldn't be signing up for that either, you know? So that's just something really to manage ourselves, and how are we modeling that? And what I found was the less I talked and the more I just asked a question or two and redirected through questions, the more effective it would be.
I do have, my mom is one of my clients, and I will say, okay, right now, let's put on the coach hat. Let's have that part of the conversation. Then we can talk about our other stuff. But you do sometimes have to establish, okay, right now we're going to talk about health. And then I'll take my coach hat off and I will go back to being your daughter, you know, but so yeah, I agree. Sometimes you have to be careful about how much time you're putting into that.
Right. And watch your clients too. If they're good, a lot of times they'll try to change the subject. You know, like a lot of my calls this week, it was people were asking me, "Oh, how's your vacation?" And then I'd say something, and then they'd ask me another question, and they didn't want to talk about their health because like they weren't doing so well. But that's where I had to completely redirect the conversation back to I was in control again. You know, asking them the question. So pay attention to that. If your clients are talking about unrelated stuff, that's probably your sign. You need to get it back to the conversation on where are they, because they might be derailing. Was this helpful for you guys? What kind of questions do you have around it? I did mute people because it was feedback, so just unmute if you want. I can't see Julie anymore, but one time Julie said, I thought it was really good. Julie said she treats every client like they're her best friend. You know, she asks them questions and cares about them, and just like they were her best friend. And I think if we approach that with people, it's going to make us more attractive. If somebody is interested in exploring coaching, it makes it just a fun community to get into, you know, as well, if they know it's a bunch of caring people. So thanks for being on. Like I said, we do have that Accelerate promotion, and we will be on the lookout. This is an opportunity to be talking to your clients. The statistics are that for every 5 to 7 clients we have, we've got a health coach candidate in there, somebody who will say yes. That's the statistic with the company. So if you're not seeing it yourself, or you don't feel like the conversations are going that way, that's probably a good sign that we maybe need to be doing the team calls with your business coach. And like I said, so that goes till the end of the month, and I'll be posting more on that. And if you're in the Atlanta area, come to our Monday night events and our holiday event in early December. So thank you guys. It's a long, this one call a week or month is very long. So thanks for your time, and I'll see you soon. Bye.